Welcome to the Core Health Podcast. I'm Sarah Williams, your host. Join me as we explore the 4 pillars of core health: faith, knowledge, action, and connection to help you build health from the inside out.
Welcome everyone back to the Core Health Podcast. Today I have one of my dear friends, Kaley Johnson, on the show. She is the founder of the Dancing Motherhood Collective and also a teacher trainer at Fletcher Pilates. So she trains Pilates trainers, which is incredible. We have been friends for going on 12, 13 years now. We went to college together, and I am just so honored to have her on Core Health today. I can't wait for you guys to feel from her love and abundance and wisdom. This will be a very moving episode, very deep and rich, full of little trinkets and nuggets for everyone. So, Kaley, welcome to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm honored to be here. I just love and adore you, and I'm so thrilled with what you are growing and to be a part of it. I am a wife and a mother. Like you said, the founder of the Dancing Motherhood Collective, which really serves women at the identity level, helping them reconnect to who they are while helping them and empowering them to become the best version of themselves through mindset and faith and legacy and alignment, and also strength and movement, connection and community, and tapping into their artistry and how all those realms really support the whole person, looking at it holistically. You mentioned as well, I love to teach Pilates and then teach teachers how to teach Pilates. I have a very big passion for teaching and moving the body, staying active, strength training as well. So always moving and moving through as a means of healing. I'm still dancing professionally myself, which I'm very, very grateful for. It is my outlet and definitely how I process and continue to grow as both a mom, a wife, and an artist.
You're so phenomenal. Remind me, where are you still dancing at?
So I'm still dancing with a company called Full Circle Dance, and it's really been just such a tender mercy in my life. We rehearse a couple of times a week after the kids go to bed. So, and it's majority, mainly other moms. So we're in the same season. We're very much in the same walk of life, but we want to keep that sense of growth and opportunity. And it's allowed us to, travel, connect with other dancers, and still continue doing what we love through motherhood and beyond.
Absolutely amazing. So let's get this out of the way. Kaley and I both know each other because we're dancers.
Yes.
People, I think everyone used to know me as, oh, Sarah the dancer. Like that's all I was a dancer. And now when someone learns I'm a dancer, it's like, wait, you used to dance? What? So it's so funny how now, like that used to be almost my entire identity. And now
Right.
I'm the aesthetic injector and doing that telemedicine thing, whatever that is.
And also, what do you not do? Let's be honest. I'm like,
Yes, we danced together at BYU.
we
And
did.
and it was an amazing experience. So I love that dance unites. See, the dance world is so interconnected. It keeps us together lifelong. So what did you think you would do? Okay, so you were dancing at BYU. You graduated. What did you think you would do? And then did you ever want to do something different than what you're doing now?
Great question. I definitely had that moment. I think after sophomore year, all your gen eds are done. I've always known I love dance. It's been a no-brainer. But there was a small part of me that worried logistically, like I should do something smarter. Maybe I look into stat. Maybe I look into health. Like I remember there was a very pivotal moment for me. I was sitting in an intro to public health class. And the woman gets up on day one and she's hysterical. Like you can tell in the best way. She's so incredibly passionate about what it is that she's sharing and she's teaching about. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go ahead and drop this class because I want to be as passionate about my topic as she is. Like that is my lesson. I know I'm not this isn't the path for me. And I was so
Oh,
blessed to have parents that I remember calling my dad and being like, I don't know what I should do. What should I do? And he's like, Kaley, you are a dance major. Like, that is what you're supposed, I spoke it into me and gave me that confidence that what I love to do and what I felt that I couldn't picture anything else, that was it.
yeah.
I didn't need to justify it with logistics or, other
How
teachers
am
that
I
even
making
told
money
me,
doing this other than
oh,
moving
I
to New
had
York?
a,
Which is what I thought. I was
uh-huh,
fully going. Like I was like, New York or LA if I
that's
want to
it.
make money doing this. Like, what am I gonna
Exactly.
do?
What am I going to do? And in fact, I had a teacher I will never forget because I was looking into statistics and he goes, well, good thing you're doing a business major because that's the only way you're going to get a job. And
Oh
I
my
looked at
gosh.
him and I said, huh. But anyways, it just was that perspective of like, do this and you'll get this result. But I'm so grateful that I chose what I did because even though I didn't know exactly what that would look like, I knew that I was just following what I love to do. With that being said, I had a mentor that came and she was very much just an angel and sat me down one day senior year when we're all like, what's next, right?
Yeah.
She's, Gary, what are you gonna do? What's your plan next year? And I'm like, I'm not entirely sure. So then she introduced the concept of grad school. Her describing it was like, oh, well, it's a no-brainer. And I knew that for me, I wanted to continue. I knew I wanted to dance, but I wasn't fully prepared to like be in the company life and work 5 other jobs just to make ends meet. That didn't make sense to me. But the fact that I
I
could go
know.
immediately to complete my master's where I could be fully funded, paid to teach as a graduate teaching assistant, and continue to perform and choreograph, I thought, let's do that. That sounds amazing.
Okay,
And it was the best move for me.
so sorry to cut you off. I'm so curious to know. First of all, do you remember who that mentor was that
Yes, I'm trying to, I'm like racking my brain because the name is escaping me, but I know it's going to come to me. And this,
you
I'm
can tell
like,
me later because it
oh
was
my
one of
gosh,
the professors, right? I'm sure.
it wasn't, I know. Oh my gosh. Karen. Hello,
Oh,
Karen.
oh,
Do
oh
you
my gosh.
remember? I was spacing on her last name, but I will
It
forever
was
be so
insane.
grateful. And I tell her this. I've told her this. I'm like, you were just such a godsend to me in that time because you opened my eyes to what was possible. And you helped me realize like that was my path. Had you not sat me down, she wasn't even my assigned mentor or counselor or anything. She just literally was followed a prompting.
That's
And
so
that changed my life.
Isn't it interesting how all it takes is one mentor, one person, and we'll get more into this, one person to mention something that will ignite a spark and go, oh, I didn't think down this grain or this path or this route or this option. I didn't know that I could do that. And now there is someone who is opening up a way just for me to have a conceptual thought that this could be my life. Like, I can do this. What? I can do this. So that is super impactful. That connectivity, which I know we're going to talk about, human connection. Oh my gosh, so influential. And where did you end up going to grad school to do that? Texas,
University of Arizona
Arizona.
in Tucson.
I was like, I know it's somewhere hot. It was either
Yeah.
Texas, or Arizona, somewhere down there. I remember when you went and did that. Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Well, we're both in hot spots now too. Now you're
Oh
in
my
St.
gosh.
George is hot and Texas is hot, so here we are.
Yes. So what led you there to now be like, I know there's so much there. The road zigs and zags. It's not straight. What
Uh-huh.
led you to go from that to doing what you are doing?
Well, that's a great question. So in the middle of my master's, got married after the first year. I immediately met my husband there, which was pretty awesome. I felt very strong about Tucson once I understood, what it was. And I guess I had it planted in my mind when I talked with Shani initially too, like that thought. And then really the knowledge. So I should acknowledge that too, that she kind of said, yeah, you can work somewhere like here today. If you have a master's, that opens opportunities for you to teach at the collegiate level. And I thought, But then really having the knowledge from Karen solidify that is what I want. That's what I want to do. So going to Tucson, I had a great first year, married my husband after the first, that May after our first year. And we got in a bad accident 3 weeks after we got married and broke my back and totally was like I had no idea what dance was going to look like after all of my goals and things shifted. I stripped it down from, oh, I'm auditioning at these places to like, all right, let's just work back to be able to dance again and to be able to feel the joy. And I think it was in that time that I thought to myself, like, isn't even a question. Like I will do everything that it takes to get back just to be able to dance. But it was beautiful because there was no real like attachment of what that would look like other than just celebrating the small wins along the way and getting back to the feeling of it. And I think being able to rebuild at the foundational level, and that's when I was introduced to Pilates and whatnot. It changed my life. It changed my course and it changed my perspective in that process of how I approach things and whatnot. And then being able to get back and come back stronger, it set a whole nother level of fire to want to share that and to want to help others rebuild and have the body awareness and have the strength and feel the freedom in their body. So Pilates became a whole just area of passion that I could incorporate and share. So I don't know if that answered your question fully, but
Absolutely.
so
Kaley, you just touched on as I was listening to you, I'm like, wow, this is so aligned. You just touched on every one of the four pillars of core health that we embody, which is
love it.
faith, action, knowledge, and connection. And how how did your faith allow you to move through that and continue moving forward? Like, because I'm sure there were dark days. I'm
Oh
sure it
yeah.
was really hard. Like, you didn't, I'm sure it wasn't like, oh, well, I broke my back and now I'm just going to build back better. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's, it
There
wasn't
was
hunky dory.
Yeah, there was those days. I remember a day specifically where I mean, I'm in this new place too. I'm in the middle of New Mexico. My husband gets this internship in freaking New Mexico, which I'm like, we're in this tiny apartment and I'm like walking this patch of grass. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to be doing a residency at San Francisco Conservatory of Dance, doing a
Yeah.
choreography thing, doing an intensive. And so I'm like looking right at the recaps and my friends there. And I'm like, I'm here. Like, why? Like, definitely those moments I'm supposed to be here, but I'm
Yeah.
instead I'm isolated and I'm I'm
Broken.
stuck and I can't, you know, and I remember hearing music. I remember getting in a pool because that's in that point of the recovery, that's what I could do to move. And I just like wanting so badly to dance again. It was like, like I feel like I'm starving. I feel like I'm, what's the word? I can't breathe. Like
Yeah.
I need it so much again. So being depleted of it just made me realize like, wow. But I will say, because your other question was how did you get through it, your faith, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was stripping down my expectation and saying, what
Whoa.
am I grateful for today? It was number one, gratitude. Well, at least I can walk. I can walk. My spine, I'm not paralyzed, you know, so I had to focus on those tiny wins and those accumulated. I had to focus on what I was grateful for each and every day. Okay, cool. I have a little bit more motion here. Awesome. Like focusing on what I had still was pivotal. Those tiny wins. Sometimes we lose sight of that, you know?
Yeah. So, you having had that experience and being involved in the coaching and mentorship space, do you see that reflected or repeated in women that you work with or men? I don't know if you work with men, women or
Um,
men specifically, but do you see them go through similar trajectories in their own
oh,
significant? How do you see
absolutely.
that play out, and what format does that take of how you guide them through that?
It's very common denominators and themes of this pressure that we put on ourselves, right? This sense of and looking back to it's interesting, Sarah, too, because I'm like, I was pretty burnt out. I was go, 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 right? But I wasn't thinking this forced me to strip down to wait, how am I doing it? Like really focus on the feeling and we lose some of that. Like we have that when we're kids. We have this sense of curiosity. And something else that was said to me from one of my main specialists who was helping me was, Kaley, you got to approach this rehab. Cause I was like, look at this. I have to be able to get back to doing ponchos. Like, I'm not trying to get back to rehab to be able to walk again. Like, this is what I need to do. Right. And he just looks at me and said, Kaley, I want you to approach this rehab process like you are 8 years old again, learning how to dance.
Ooh.
And that piece alone was life changing because at an 8-year-old, what does an 8-year-old do? They're curious still.
They
They're
play.
not worried about, they play. They're not worried about how it looks. They're tuned into how it feels. And they're not afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. They don't have to know
Like,
everything.
they don't have to know everything.
Or
They
don't
don't
know.
have to know where is this leading? What am I going to be able to do? It's like, you know what? Take a chill, take the pressure off, approach with more play, and yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's really hard for a lot of people. What I'm running into is like, well, I should be able to do this. I can do this on my own. It's like, we were not meant to do it alone.
Mm,
We were not meant to.
okay. Okay, a couple things here I want to ask you about. So, is this usually when clients, students, co-workers,
Yes.
dancers with you in your collective, where do you see this coming up the most? Is it more in a coaching client? Is it more on the Pilates reformer? Is it what
Gosh.
forms do you see this take?
Oh my goodness. I'm like everywhere in every way in personal clients. And then most recently, just coming off this Pilates training, right? It's even, for example, doing a mock teaching of like this expectation that the first time they go, they've got to do it perfectly. And really helping to break down from the very beginning. This is learning. I want you to be messy right now. If you were perfect, why would we be here? Like it
Yeah.
is okay. I think a lot underlying it's like this. I can't, it's like I like to use this analogy actually. You know, if you've ever hired out help for cleaning, we feel like you have to clean before the person gets here.
Mhm.
Versus like that's what they're helping us with. But it's a sense of like, I have to do this perfectly and I can't, I don't know, maybe it's like be fully exposed or vulnerable or you know what I mean?
Is it almost like I see this in clinic too. I have to present this version of myself or show up
Right.
in this way with at least this standard in order to fill
Get
in.
help. Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
can't just show up.
Right.
I have
I have to
to
do this first.
qualify somehow, which some things in life we do have to qualify for. Like
Right.
but not to be yourself. You
Right.
don't
Show
have
me.
to qualify to be you. And
Yes.
when you're learning through something new, going through a new process in your health, in your rehabilitation, it's like you can just start.
It-
You
oh,
can just start from nothing, from nowhere, because you already really are enough. And this is me speaking to me because mindset, I go through this all the time. I go through
all
this
the
with my
time.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, me too. Literally just today.
yeah,
I'm
it's,
like, wait, yeah.
I think
At
it's
this like, wait,
very,
but I have to get this ready before. And that's why I have my own mentor that says, Kaley, no, you do it. And then you like, right? I'm like, oh, frick. Yeah, you're right.
and then you have the evidence. You build the evidence for yourself over time.
Yes.
Layla and Alex Hormozy talk about this all the time where they're like, you don't have to be good to start. You just
Yeah.
start and then you practice.
Hurts.
And then when you have a mountain of evidence showing to yourself, not to other people, but to
Yes.
yourself that look at what I do and look what I can do. And I have noticed that in my own business that I I never felt ready to start. And when
No.
I brought on my first nurse practitioner, I didn't feel ready to do that. When I brought on my second nurse practitioner, I didn't feel ready to do it. I did it. And then it's like, wait, this is happening. I am doing this though. Starting this podcast, I didn't feel ready. I didn't think a lot about what I was doing. I was just like, I know, like, I've just felt like I need to do this for a while. So
Yes.
I'm just going to
We're
start
doing it.
and I'm going to let it be messy. I'm
Yeah.
let it be messy. And feeling responsible for someone's health, I'm like, but I need to know what I'm doing. And I do,
For sure. You
and
do.
but there's certain elements, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, you
Oh,
really just have to do it.
you have to do it. That's so someone asked me a good question, which I think you'd really enjoy too. It was a question of, oh, how did you start something like, the Dancing Motherhood Collective? Like, where did you find the confidence to start? And I said, ooh, that's such a good question. I said,
I didn't.
confidence comes in doing. Clarity and confidence comes in following your heart and realizing you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You don't just wait for the confidence to arrive. Okay. All right, now I'm confident I'm going to start. Nope. Clarity, confidence comes in doing.
Yeah.
It comes in
It's
doing.
so true. So okay, we have similar faith backgrounds,
Yeah.
very similar faith backgrounds, member of the same religion. When there is this paradigm, and I think also, like, I have to be prepared enough or I have to qualify somehow to know what God's direction is for my life. And how do I know if I'm making the right decision? We've been talking about like how we zigzag and you don't really know the end from the beginning, how you're going to end up somewhere with a business, with a career, and your relationship with kids. You don't know what's coming. So, how do you navigate that? Like, did you ever feel a calling from God to enter into what you're doing? And at the same time, did that ever feel in opposition to what you were seeing or what was actually happening or playing out? Like, you feel very aligned in your field. You can feel it from you. Like, I can feel it coming off of you. Like, this is your thing. This is your, what was it? Public health speaker standing up there and in
That moment.
being
Yeah.
so confident and everything. That's you now in your element. Like, that comes off of you. So you have this where you are, and I'm sure you felt guided by God and faith to get to where you are. So how do you reconcile that when sometimes it doesn't feel like that in the journey or in the moment?
Mm.
Does that make
When
sense?
it's I'm trying to think of a time. So you're asking, just to clarify, has there ever been a time when it felt like maybe it wasn't, like if you were maybe questioning if it was God's
Yes.
will?
Yes. Or if you made the right choice, or like,
Yeah.
oh, did I just make that up? Did I think God told me to go down this path, and really it was me making it up?
Right. No, I think that's
Yeah.
so valid. You still question that all the time. Like, God, what do you really want from me? Is that what I want or is that what you want? And being able to have that discernment. And I think just it can be easy to ask around and just kind of wonder, but I've had to really make time and stillness to be like, I think it's a lifelong journey of listening and then trusting and acting on that. And then when you do, I think it's remembering the times that you trusted, right? And it's like, wait, like going back to those times, not in a sense of longing, but in a sense of like remembering those lessons and remembering those times when you maybe had that question in your mind, but then saying, okay, but look at to where it led me. Like I think the most recent thing too, with even coming off of this recent training, was whatever it ends up being is what it was meant to be. Like that's what's kind of coming up in the last couple of days. And that's again going back to that, like just trusting that. I think too, like knowing what's on your heart is often, to me, like what if it's good and it is something that will, bring others goodness and it's sharing your gift, like it is from God. Like you don't have to second guess and it's like go back and forth because sometimes it is hard to know. But if it is a good thing, if it is in your purpose, then yes, do it, And of course, there's always the good, better, best of like, um, of,
Like
filtering
priorities.
huh?
Like priorities.
Yeah, priorities and filtering because I think I struggle too sometimes with, oh, but I could do this and this and this, but is this really where I'm being called right now? And that comes down to like making time to strengthen that relationship and listening, and then also acting in faith and knowing too that um in making that decision, he's not going to lead you too far astray. Like it's all learning, and it's all, again, like it all is what is meant to be. And looking back, you can see that. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. You looking back, you can see that. Yeah. And then it's the same thing, like stacking evidence. It's almost God stacking, like how we can stack evidence
Yes.
for ourselves.
Yeah.
We're talking is like that's God stacking evidence of his love, his presence in our lives of
The butterfly effect, right? Like if this hadn't happened and then this hadn't happened, like you can look back. So I think making space and time for reflection is not only that is productive. I think that we go over, we're just, oh, keep going. But like, have you actually had time to just sit and look at the last 6 months, or like really, really ponder on it? Because that's pivotal to move forward.
yeah. So in that, a couple of things stuck out to me in what you just said. Creating stillness is action. It takes
Yes.
it takes an intention and action, personal effort to set aside. This is probably my number one flaw. It takes
Same.
personal, yes, we're very similar that way. Intention and proactivity to set aside space and time to be still, to tap in, to tune
Connect.
in, to connect. And that I think really influences
Receive.
burnout. Receive. I think it really makes a difference with burnout.
Oh, 100%. Because if you're not operating in a space of what's truly in alignment, you're going to exhaust all the energy in places where you were never meant to be. You know what I
Speak
mean? If
about
you are
that.
in alignment, operating in total alignment, everything you do, in theory, maybe not every little, of course, there's going to be little things that you have to do that are life, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, your life should fill you. You should be tired, but in the best way. Like literally coming off this training this weekend. I know I keep going back to that, but it's fresh in my mind.
That's
I'm
okay.
like, I'm like, man, I'm wiped, but I'm so full. I feel so fulfilled. Like I know that is like that where I was is exactly where I needed to be the last 5 days. And it feels so good. And I'm like, everyone should deserve to feel that. Every single person, not just like, oh, I'm trying to survive day to day. Like I'm just trying to get through. Like, what kind of life is that? How does that affect you personally and your family? Your family's feeding off of that, your environment. Like nobody deserves that version of you. You don't, your family doesn't, the world. Like it just, no.
Okay. You know what is coming so strongly to my mind as you are speaking about this
Yeah.
is I hear my clients and my family members about the exhaustion, the real exhaustion that comes from motherhood and the burnout of having littles and feeling overwhelmed and pulled in a million different directions with so many responsibilities. So we've been talking about it in like this personal and client and mentorship and everything, coming down to, speaking of good, better, best, the best is relationship, right? Especially that core family relationship.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that personally, and how do you see that in others? Like what's your take on that? The burnout that can come from motherhood. Because women will come to me, they have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And they are so tired and their hormones start going like this. And they go to their doctor, and their doctor says, all I can give you is a birth control or an antidepressant, and you need to sleep more.
You're just anxious.
I'm like, you're just anxious. Why don't you go home and work on your marriage? And I'm like, no, come to me. You're not going crazy. Okay. I can fix this. And then we're able to help them feel a little better and feel like they can navigate their life.
Just amazing.
And yes, but outside of, beyond hormone replacement therapy, this is still an issue. This is still an ongoing battle.
Big issue.
Men and women both, but women just experience it in the way that they experience it. So how do you see that? What is your scope? What's your lens? And see that in your clients.
Yes, this is so fresh on my mind too. So I love that you brought this up, because this is a a big problem. The best analogy that someone actually presented that's evident in her own life is she's like, I feel like I get the breadcrumbs. I'm
Ooh.
giving my family, like I put everybody's schedules together. I'm taking care of everyone else and I'm taking the breadcrumbs of whatever's left.
Mm.
Right. And I think it too, like part of that, going back to the religion, it's like all others before ourselves, right? Like we're taught to kind of be like selfless, selfless, selfless. But I don't think that point of like taking care of ourselves, it's almost like, yeah, mothers a lot. I see this so much. Almost every mother I speak to is like, even the permission to take care of ourselves is like they feel this guilt. They feel this pull of like, wait, but I have 1,000 things. How could I possibly put myself first?
Take the
But
time.
they don't realize they don't what here's what I fully believe, and that hill I will die on is that your kids deserve the happiest version of you. That's what they will remember. They don't need a perfect mom. They need a happy mom. And if you're happy, you're able to, if you are emotionally regulated on your own, you got to handle some big emotions. Between my boys, there was a moment I had recently. Barrett's sobbing, Grayson's crying, and I'm like, had I not emotionally regulated myself, how would I deal with this right now? I would be stimulated, right? But because okay, like I can help them with a little bit more groundedness. So emotional regulation and your peace should be top tier. Otherwise, you will feel constantly pulled. You'll never feel like you're enough. You'll never feel like you accomplish anything because you haven't operated from a place of fullness.
Mm.
So yeah.
So, what contributes to taking that one step further? Say someone who is listening
Yeah.
is not feeling like that, and they're not happy, they're not taking care of themselves, or they don't know what to do. They feel lost,
Yeah.
they don't feel abundance, and um, but they want to. How do we, number one, not pressure ourselves to put on a front and put on a that "Oh,
Mhm.
happy all the time. Mom doesn't have problems. Like mom's always okay. She's always happy."
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
how do we not put on a front and pretend? And then how do we get to that place of true fullness? What does that look like?
Yeah. No, that's such a great question. I think going back to that, like not being afraid to get some support on it,
Mm.
surrounding yourself with a community that gets it and isn't just gonna there's a difference, right? Between a group of people who are just gonna sit and complain about it or actually help each other in it and say, what
Tolerate,
can we do about it?
just
Exactly.
tolerate and complain.
Exactly. No, no,
And
no,
then
no.
they know.
It's not helpful. So
Yeah.
surround yourself with people who are going to lift you and genuinely help you find what's possible. And what is that one thing that you maybe have been for me, it's obviously dance and movement, right? But that might look different for every mom. But what is that little thing? Mel Robbins talks about this. She has this theory. She's like, if you feel like you're on survival mode, you are just a gas tank is on E. What I'm going to tell you to do one more thing. And I know it's not going to make sense to you because you're not going to feel like you have one more thing, but I want you to do one more thing. They've done research on this of like two groups of people with like, okay, one group had extra time, the other group had like that few minutes of activity of doing something that they love that fueled them and the chain reaction of that on how they approach life and their relationships and their health. It changes everything. And you don't think that it would, but it does. It does. So implementing that one thing that you know just brings you joy. And for me, that's movement and moving my body and being able to heal in that way so I can show up for the ones that I love. And making that priority, it doesn't need to be hours on end a day, but if you can really create the space for it. And two, I think there's a big thing of like, oh, but if I'm doing this, I'm taking it away for your kids. No, make them a part of it. If that's what you need to do, I take my kids to the gym every time I go. They know it's part of the routine because they're seeing you in action. And how powerful is that? How powerful is they can see, oh, mom's doing what she loves. Cool. I'm gonna go after my dreams too. She's
Yeah.
chasing her dreams. I'm gonna chase mine too. You show them how you want them to be.
Yes. and give them a reason to do the
For a
same
reason.
thing for
Yes.
themselves, and you exemplify that for
Yeah. Yeah, you show it in action, and it doesn't have to be at the cost of them because they're involved. They're part of the process. I taught an intensive at the local college I used to teach at consistently. And I brought Barrett in, and it was the final day, the showcase day. And he was just, it made me so joyous and sitting in the seat. And he's like, Mom, this is amazing. Did you see that dance? I want them to doing it. He was loving it. And I'm like, he goes, I love your work, maybe more than daddy's work. And I'm like, yes. Like, I just made me so happy that he was so happy. And it was obviously where I love to be too. Like, it can be a means of connection. And a lot of moms are finding that too, that it's like, oh, I have a daughter. One of our collective women, Mary, she's like, my daughter's learning to dance and I'm growing alongside of her. And how cool is it that we can be growing together? I'm like, this is what it is. It's about legacy. It's about that growing together.
That's beautiful. What you just demonstrated and illustrated in a very, I think, comprehensive way that anyone could take what you just said and find something to give themselves some grace and give themselves some room to be
Yeah.
like, oh, actually, me doing this, whatever it is, or me taking time for this is me living in abundance, is actually me being selfless because it
Yep.
gives me a better version of me. It gives everyone around me a better version of me because we all have different versions of ourselves, inevitably. We do. That's a reality. We do.
Yeah.
Love that you mentioned Mel Robbins. I love Mel Robbins. We we do. We show up differently in different
Yeah.
environments, in different scenarios, different people. And I've noticed consistently, whether it be in coworkers, in administration, in patients, in whatever, in family relationships, I think burnout across the board that I'm just not enjoying what I'm doing. I'm going through the motions. I'm slaving through this, but it's a grind all the time. I think that consistently across the board is what leads to like a energy and frequency plunge.
100%.
Being disheartened and being disillusioned and just feeling down. I think
Yeah.
it's usually that like, oh, there's just no time for me. Like, well, there is, like, honestly, this time, me and you together, this is, like, one of those things that lights me up for me, and that's
Same.
what brought me to this, honestly, is I'm like, that is something I actually just look forward to and enjoy. Is it making me any money? No. I like, is there really a purpose?
Yet.
Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. No. I thought about it, I was like, I would do this if no one listened.
Yeah, right.
It would be
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. What would you do for free? That's what you need to do.
Yes. Just
What would you do for free?
all and doing it and just getting to talk to you about this stuff that I
No.
live and care about and I'm working
Exactly.
and I think that is one of the biggest gaps in healthcare and in wellness in general is this
Absolutely.
drive to like compete and produce and like, oh, if you're going to live forever, you have to do this. And longevity is almost like a race or a competition now. And
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
doing this 10-step morning routine, your cell senescence is going to decay you and you're going to have Alzheimer's by the time you're 55. Like
Yeah.
it's this
It's
it's it's a craze.
crippling. Yeah.
It
It's
can be
crippling.
crippling. And I I know that's a gap that I see, and I know you're really passionate about burnout and remedying that. What what does that gap look like for you? Or is there a different gap that you would identify that you think is like, why aren't we addressing this? You had
Yeah. Well,
mentioned previously something about when we were talking, something about postpartum women. Do you remember that?
oh,
Like,
yes.
there
Well, huh?
like you had said something super interesting about it to me, and I wanted to hear more about that.
Postpartum women. I don't know if that was attached to
What?
burnout necessarily. I'm trying to figure out. Oh, there was a stat on burnout. It was like
Okay.
And I meant to look it up. I didn't look it up. Shoot. But
That's
it's something to the effect of like the effects of burnout and statistically speaking, how that it's not just like a personal problem, like, oh, people are sad, but like it affects our economy, like on a global scale. Companies and things are losing productivity. We're losing, it was like billions of dollars, which sounds crazy, but it's actually true. Like we'll post a stat when we post the episode.
yes, we'll put
It
it.
is true. Because I remember reading it and being like, because I'm in the process of writing this talk and I'm like, oh, but this is important because we have $1 billion problem here.
Yeah.
But burnout is $1 billion problem economically, personally. Like it really is. It truly is. So with postpartum, I think it just was that discussion of like, yeah, feeling isolated and how again you talk about the healthcare system and just try this pill. I don't know. You want a prescription for this? Okay, fine. It's just like whatever it'll get you out the fastest. Versus what are some things that you're fully in control? Like maybe what do you put into your body each and every day? Why
Mm.
is that never a question? It blows my mind. It's like, well, aren't you going to ask me what I'm eating or what I'm consuming or putting into my body and onto my body? Like, that's huge, right? Um, and just, yeah, and knowing that, yeah, I'm so grateful for people like you who are filling those gaps and looking at the whole picture, right? Versus like, all right, here's a quick fix, because it's so many different pillars, like you talk about, that culminate the whole person.
Yeah.
And that
Absolutely.
help. But so with burnout too, though, I was going to mention something about, just like triggers, right? That I feel that are really relevant to today. I mean, just an easy one, social media. We're seeing what everybody else is doing.
Mm.
And what is that? It's just It's very distracting. And like, wait, should I be doing that too? Versus, am I fulfilled? Wait. Is that even what I want to be doing? A
It's
huge,
even what I want to be doing.
exactly. Versus like, oh, I should be doing that. No,
Does
no,
it
no, no, no.
look like someone else's good idea that they're doing that's working for them?
Right. Do I want to be doing that? Always ask yourself the question. It's always a question of like, again, going back to the curious mindset, the curious lens. When you're looking at socials or you find yourself in a state of comparison, ask yourself, okay, well, first have the knowledge of if you want to do that, you can. Second of all, do you really want that? And that's when you have to be true to you, to your purpose, to your goals, to your alignment. Like you can appreciate. And then when you're in that and you're truly walking in that, you can be genuinely happy for someone without needing to compare or worrying or whatever. Another huge one I see is comparison to the former self. That
Ooh.
is massive. But I used to be this. I'm not even going to try because you know that dancer mentality, right? Why would I go back? Because I'm not going to be able to have my leg at whatever degree. That is, I think, even more so than other people, it's the comparison to the former self, the former ability, getting back to this body. Oh, but pre-pregnancy, I'm like, garbage, throw it out the window. You have a new body. You birthed a human, you are also birthed new as well.
Ooh, you were birthed new as well.
I think that, I that's what I say. I'm like you and different version of you. Like, yes, you're still your same person, but you are a new version of yourself. And
Yeah.
you're never going to get back, nor should you want to or need to feel like you should.
Yeah.
So,
I see this all the time. That's so true. I do that in different ways, I think, as well. I'm sure I
really, I
do
mean,
that in myself. And yeah, the dancer mentality. Oh my gosh,
all
absolutely.
or nothing.
Oh my gosh. If I
I
can't
can't. Why
Svetlana's
would I?
on the Paris Opera
Why
Ballet,
would I try?
why would I ever go take another dance class? Like my
And
turnout's
then
terrible. You know what I
exactly getting to
I can't
start.
even do a
It's like,
triple anymore.
huh?
What if I can't even do a triple anymore?
Exactly. Then it's not worth it, which stops people from even trying. That's the
Mhm.
problem. It comes full circle, right? To like, I don't want to start because I can't be at this level. And I'm
Ooh,
embarrassed that I'm not there.
and having to start over and over. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't good enough. So I had to start over.
Wasn't perfect.
Didn't work. So I had
Exactly.
to start over, start over, start over. It's the
But little do they
diet.
know it's the start. Little do they know it's the starting over that's going to be the start of the next best. Like it's the next best version of themselves. Like that is waiting. And people often, like I always say, like the best version of you is to become still. It was not the
Ooh,
version. The best version of you is to become,
the best
is yet to come.
come. I love it. The best version of you is to become.
Yet to come.
That is the title of our episode. It's just happening. It's happening. I remember, I don't know if you'll remember this phrase, but when you and I were dancing together, I don't know if it came from you, if it came from me, but somewhere along the way, we had this phrase that we would say to each other,
Rise up.
rise above. Have
Yes.
you thought
Say
about that?
that.
I've thought about that a couple of times since, and it's
I
come back.
really have.
Oh my gosh, that was a me and Kaylee thing. Rise above. And we see that, man, in so many ways. And I got reminded of that when you said about the greatest version of you is becoming. Like it is still coming to fruition. And
Yes.
always just rising above and learning and progressing and continuing. It's not stagnant and it's not an end point either.
And isn't that amazing that you have the permission to continually reinvent yourself? In
Hmm.
fact, that's what you should be doing. Like it, or not should be. I say that I ha- I want to stay away from those terms because again, it adds more pressure. It's like you should, you need to. So
Yep.
let me redirect here, but like you can. I always want to leave people with like what is possible, and you can choose to reinvent yourself over and over. Like this process of growth, and like I love that you said there's no end point. It's just
Yeah.
a continual process.
We're just still going. We're just still.
I remember, Sarah, I remember sitting in one of our cars just talking for literally hours. It's snow outside. Like I remember like it's yesterday. And we're just like hyping ourselves up. We're just like this, back
Yeah.
and forth. We can
Yeah.
do this. We must have been going through something hard. I don't know. We were
I can
just like
probably actually think of a couple of scenarios that were probably going on, and we are
we
both.
were trauma bonding.
And so when we get into yeah, you and I together, both
We
being trans
yeah.
women and having the personalities, it's like rise above. Yeah, you can rise above. Oh, I'm sure it was something to do with casting or
Exactly.
demands on schedules or needing more
Oh
time to
my
recover body parts
God.
or something before the next performance or
But
tour.
we got each other through, and that was monumental, and I actually had I can remember I mean, that still is so impactful even to today, Sarah, because I remember one of the themes, the show I performed, Pregnant with Barrett, it was all about it was this, like I was, in essence, the phoenix, and it was this whole rebirth thing, and rising above, that was a huge theme, that I carried with me and still do to this day of, like, rising above maybe not even others, but of ourselves and maybe out of our own limitations, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest thing. I heard something where it's like if you realize your thoughts are a cage, your thoughts alone are.
And feelings are
Oh,
not facts. Your thoughts can be a
oh,
cage. Feelings are not facts. It's just information. They're just feelings. Okay, so
yeah.
this actually, I just had this thought come to me. Let me ask you because this is a big issue that I see in women's health and wellness is there can be these offshoot branch fads of almost I think it almost comes to this self-development or therapeutic terminology and jargon that they start using of this like you can reinvent yourself. I see it taken too far of then I can abandon like any truth I used to have, like almost turning your back on where you came from or what's contributed to what is right here. And like it turns into a rebellion. Like, oh, well, that's the old me. I'm the new me now. And I leave all this behind me. So how do you reinvent yourself and also stay grounded? How do you know what to stay grounded in when there's all these fads and all of these different sources? We have this overabundance of information. How do we identify truth and decide what to stay grounded in as we grow? What is like h- how do we do that?
Yeah,
You know
that's
what
a
I'm trying
really
to sense where it's like,
Totally.
oh, well,
Oh, I
no,
know exactly what you're talking about.
my
Yeah.
parents never taught me to emotionally regulate and they're just the worst. It's like, well, your parents also grew up in the Great Depression. So I think they did the best they could with what, okay, grandparents, the
Yeah.
best they could with what they had. I think they were really trying with you. And now you thinking that they gave you all of this childhood trauma is
Oh my
maybe a little
gosh.
dramatic.
It's
Not to
the
down
words.
actual trauma, but you know what I mean? It's like turning your back on things and rebelling is different than becoming
Reinventing.
new.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so true. It's like this trendy, like,
It's a counterfeit.
yeah,
It's a lie.
it's a counterfeit. And I think the echoing what I would say to that is like, how well are you connected to the source?
Mm,
You gotta keep that connection. Otherwise, all of this distraction and counterfeit will influence and seep in, and you can lose sight of what you really know to be true.
yeah.
And I think this culture, this is what really ticks me off, Sarah, is like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what I believe, but I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm not saying never ask questions and stay curious. But if you can't tell me what you believe at the core, no, I can't talk to you. No, not maybe that's a little extreme, but I get fired up. I'm like, in a world that's so, you didn't
Wishy-washy.
know where you stand. You didn't know where you stand on certain topics. And you know what I'm talking about. It's like, you can't just like, I don't know. And I'm not concerned about it. But what about your children? Like, what do you mean you don't know? And you're
I
not
think
concerned
to be
about it?
grounded in if the root is nothing or the root is only self, that's the other thing. If it's
Yes,
only self
exactly.
and you are your
What feels
only pillar. Like,
Yep.
you can draw a straight line through a dot in any direction. If I have a piece of paper and there's a dot in the middle, I can draw a straight line through that that can look like a path, it's a straight line, a straight shot in any direction. But there has to be, like you said, source, which for me is God. This
Right.
anchored point, there is only one straight line that connects those two dots.
Exactly.
And that is the guiding light. That is the North Star. And that goes deep and it goes far. It
I
goes
love
deeply
that.
grounded, deeply rooted, and also ever upward into abundance and infinity because we are limitless.
I
And
love
if
that.
God is truly our God of the universe, then what limitation could there be? You don't have to rebel against anything or create an enemy out of any institution, any family, any relationship. You don't need to create something to be a friction point with. You can just surrender into becoming and growing
Yeah.
and learning and moving beyond. I
That's
kind of got on
so
my
good
own little
wording.
soapbox there, but
But I love that.
you gave me so many thoughts and I was like,
That's burned in my mind though. That image, I'm like, yes, exactly.
yeah,
Just no words. That's
connection,
so good. I
not
love that
just
imagery.
self, but also connection to source.
Ah, runs deep and limitless up. Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful.
Kaley, what would you tell someone who said they don't know what their purpose is, or like they don't know a woman who doesn't know what she wants to pursue? She doesn't know who she wants to help, who she wants to serve, what she wants to do. And you are in the field that you're in. And she comes to you and says, well, maybe I want to do what you do. Or maybe I want to do this. How do you know? Like, how do you help someone find their purpose?
I know. That is the question of the day, isn't it? It's like, how do I really know? What lights you up? Some simple thing that's like, what do you think about in the shower? I heard that once. It's like, what do you think about? What would you do unpaid? What truly brings you joy? Like, chase the joy, chase the passion. And if you don't know what that fully is yet, get curious.
Get
Get
curious.
what is something that someone comes to you often and you can easily like, oh yeah, like I have a sure knowledge of this, or I light up when this is asked to me, or I'm in the situation where I can help with this or whatnot. What lights you up? What sets your heart on fire? Do that.
Yeah. And
Period.
in your example of what led you to being a Pilates instructor, not that you were completely unaware of what Pilates is, just
Yes.
Pilates that originated like in synchronicity with the New York City Ballet, did it not? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You'll know
Mhm.
better than I. I think I know that story, but you'd be the expert on it. That it was a
Yeah,
really
it was all
dark,
dancers who were injured who were coming to Joe, yeah.
right? Well, it was this this back injury for you that really pushed you into it. And I think that's something to really highlight and show. Maybe you could speak to that. It's
Yes.
something
Yes.
that seems like this is terrible. I hate this. This is ruining my life. That now is a springboard.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what something else I was gonna hit on, so thank you for bringing that. I was gonna say, what is your story? There is something in your life that you have overcome. There's many things that you've overcome. And guess what? Someone right now is on the before side, and you're on the other side. You can teach them, right? And that's part of your purpose. Like, we all experience things to be able to empathize with others on a deeper level and to be able to show them the way. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like who do you know how to serve? And
Yeah.
I also think, I mean, I entered into this field very knowingly and feeling very guided, but it doesn't always feel like I'm waking up to go to like, oh my gosh, the sun is just shining and this is my dream job and which it is, but it doesn't always feel like butterflies and rainbows even
Right.
though it is what lights me up.
Ah.
I have
Oh, oh, oh.
and rely on that even when I don't feel the light. I have to trust in that deeply rooted guiding light.
Okay. I'm so glad that you said that because I think people can often confuse.
Yes.
They have roadblocks. Oh, it must not be meant to be. But actually, the path, it is hard. That's actually good. It means where the growth is. Like yeah. And really being able to have the discernment of like, hmm, what is this roadblock? Because it really pointing me in the opposite direction. Like, roadblocks are part of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the more that you can accept that and know that, like, this is an uphill climb, but it doesn't mean that it's not my purpose. So, like, really being able to discern those two, I think, yeah, we can get stuck of like, oh, it's not working out. Guess it's not meant to be. No,
Mhm.
no, no.
Not gonna work out after all. Oh well, see ya. Yeah, and this is
No,
me.
it's okay.
I feel like you may understand this. I think we have a similar brain in this way, where it's like what you were describing. Like I could be successful at so many different things.
For
Like
sure.
can and am
Yeah.
good at like a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
so I need to do them all. It was a thing in college. It's a thing still. It was a thing in high school when I wanted to be a cheerleader and did it for 2 weeks and then decided, oh no, actually, I'm glad I really realized not to be because now I see why. But even though I'm really good at this, no, 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 no. Hold on. What do you actually feel aligned with? What are we actually going to stay the course?
Stay the course.
And it's even that I mean, with in adulthood, that doesn't go away. And in real life and maturity, that doesn't go away where it can be like the woman in the red dress. Oh, that looks appealing. That looks like a good idea. Let me chase after that. Oh, and then oh, that looks appealing. That looks good. I could do that. Let me chase after that. And it can be hard to navigate.
Yeah, really, really hard. No, there was a time too. I don't know if you know this, but after sophomore year, I called my dad. I was like, maybe that it wasn't a good situation. I think and it wasn't the director that we had. It was more of my own securities, putting my value in her behavior and decisions. And I wasn't secure enough on my own, but it led me to a point where I was like, should I just do something else? And my dad said, Kaley, stay the course.
Oh,
I need you to stay the course. And I remember exactly where I was, Provo Center Street. Like, I was outside. Like, I will remember it. And it's just like, I'm so grateful. And sometimes that's what we need to hear is stay the course. Like, yes, of course you'll be tempted, but stay in it. Like, when you really know, but it's hard, like, you got to remember to stick it out. Like, people, yeah, it's just that you're almost there. Like you're at the edge of a breakthrough. And I think like living in the sense of that, where you're like, I'm right on the edge of something, and then when something happens, that was a big turnaround. That summer, I went away. Did you go to Italy that summer?
No, I
I think
remember
you
when
went to
you went.
Vegas.
I think that's when I think I went to San Francisco Conservatory the year that you
That's
did
right.
the
Okay.
Italy study abroad.
Yeah.
The study
So
abroad.
going away for me was the best thing because I could have that other perspective and change and come back to the same place, but be changed, right? And then it all was it was so different. Like I needed that experience away. So yeah, staying the course doesn't mean doing the same thing necessarily. It's sticking to your truth, maybe making some slight, recalibrations, if you will, but staying true to who you are and your purpose, even though it is, hard at times. But it'll be worth it because it's still where you're meant to be, right?
Staying true to the truth.
Yeah, staying
Staying
true
true
to the truth.
to the truth.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's not always easy or convenient, but it's worth it.
absolutely. Kaley, this has been such a rich, beautiful conversation, as I knew it would be. I just knew it was going to be cool. If there was one thing you could share, or let me rephrase it this way. What would you like for your time as a coach and a trainer and a teacher if you could have like a main impact and legacy? I know legacy is a big word for you. What would that be? What is your legacy? What is your impact?
I think it's simple. It comes down to helping people realize what is possible,
Mm.
what actually is possible for their potential. And having that moment where it's like, oh, I didn't even know that I was capable of that. Having that moment realization because when they know, I think you can tell them all day. The other people can tell them what they could do, but when they realize it themselves, when they know who they are and what they're capable of,
Yeah,
that's it. So I want them to know what is possible and what their potential really is and how deeply they are loved
how
as
deeply
well.
they are loved. Yeah,
And that they are more than enough just as they are, not the titles. I mean, strip it down to their identity, right? And being secure in that, having joy in that, and growing in their gifts and being able to share with others and helping others along the way. That's what this life is about, right? Helping each other. You're never alone. I guess that's several things, but I think really comes down to that possibility, potential, and love.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Kaley.
You're
This has
welcome.
blessed me and impacted me. And
Me too. I
it
have my notes. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to listen because to hear your wisdom again back. I'm like,
I know it's been a minute. But we've always had that friendship. Like we'll just always be friends. We just know it. There's
yeah,
these people
yeah.
you meet in your life that it's like
Right?
it doesn't matter that I haven't seen you since probably the day we graduated. Probably. Well, you
So,
graduated before I did because I left and went and came back.
yeah.
I haven't seen you in a long time, but we have
But
always
I'll be seeing you again.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you again soon. We have reasons. We have lots of
I
reasons.
know, right? I'm like,
And
so
it's impossible to not be impacted by you because you are so impactful and so light. You are always a hype woman. Always.
thank you.
Thank
And
you
you
for
as well.
coming.
Myself.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on Core Health and
Of course.
my growing audience. Thank you. Until next time.
This podcast is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider regarding your individual health needs. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.